So, this is a series idea I just kind of had as a spur of the moment thing because I need, some good old content for my channel. But the idea is that this is going to be an unscripted kind of just discussion type thing. I guess, good old Buddy Mega Snoop kind of does a similar thing, but I figure, it's also a nice kind of thing to bring into my channel, and it's just discussions on things. So, in that vein of discussion, I guess it's kind of a bland question. I mean, it's an obvious one, but how do you feel about Toontown's future as it is right now? So I'm gonna just give my own take, my feelings and my vibes and things I can bring to that discussion. And then the idea is that we can also start a discussion in the comments, and we can reply to each other and read each other's comments and kind of, make some kind of little discussion amongst ourselves. So, Toontown's future. I think about my future on Toontown quite a bit, honestly. I always kind of think about, do I want to keep doing Toontown forever? Do I want to kind of try to branch out? And I've been thinking about, oh, should I go back to doing dumpster dives, see how that does? Or should I simplify that? Or should I make loopy gooby gaming or something and start trying to branch out a little bit? And if that does well, do I start moving towards that, or, something probably unrealistic like that? But the fact of the matter is I don't know if I'll be able to leave Toontown. I say that as in, as long as the game has a following, as long as the game's still alive, you guys are all still here supporting me. I'm still getting thousands of views every time I upload a video, and it's not something that I can just walk away from. I can't just ditch it and leave it behind. But the fact is, there's times where I feel like my hope on the future of Toontown fluctuates. So I feel like at times there's little glimmers, and then there's long stretches, and the latter here is probably more true than the former with the glimmers, but there's more longer stretches where you feel like things are progressively just unfortunately going downwards. I mean, the game is really old and the updates are far and few between. But I do feel like there's times where you kind of have this feeling where, I guess, it's not something crazy good, but Smirky, for example, will have a Q&A with Joey, and Joey will say that they're focusing on a expansive field office update, and that's supposed to come out this year. And, high level, end game level gameplay for experienced players is gonna, be the focus of this year. And in a nutshell, it sounds really good, and you kind of have like a hope for, some actual new content. And as for me, as a Toontown content creator, that kind of thing is very, exciting, and something that I really do hope comes sooner than later, because the more I can do that, the more I can cover that, it makes my life easier making content consistently. It gives me something to really look forward to making videos on and getting a reaction out of my following and push something out. And so there's glimmers like that that are inspiring and make you kind of hopeful, but there's a lot of stretches where there's just nothing. Another point I can bring to this is I've been following behind the scenes on Toontown Corporate Clash for a long time, and it's kind of another thing that it's slowly coming along, and I'm watching progress being made, and progress is being made, but it's kind of the same thing with all Toontown servers. It's just, I don't know what it is, but there's just something about Toontown that just makes it so impossibly hard for us to get updates out quickly. I think it kind of just all boils down to, this person has idea A, this person has idea B, then you gotta decide on what idea, and you wanna go this path, that route, and then you have to outline it, you have to design it, you have to model it, you have to texture it, you have to make music for it, you have to code it, you have to code things working in it, you have to code GUIs and functionality and gameplay, and you gotta make sure that everything looks perfect, there's no graphical bugs or design errors. You gotta make sure collisions and paths and spawn points and everything is just so perfect. And then you take all of that and you stick it on high school college, working jobs, volunteer, no money, just a passion project, you can kind of see how over time, so many tasks in one involved little thing can kind of take a while to develop. But the fact is, I'm hoping that, Corporate Clash comes out soon and I can make content on that, because I feel like that's something that would do very well on my channel. I feel like that's a good source of content for my channel. And so, it kind of goes back to the point I'm trying to make, where there's glimmers of hope, for, some kind of future, some kind of, jump up, jump down. But the thing is it feels like, there's highs and lows, and the highs are when content like that comes out, but I do kind of also feel like there is definite stretches where, Corporate Clash comes out, or, previously Project Altus comes out, and there's a huge resurgence in viewership. All of a sudden, streamers start getting hundreds of viewers during, like, staff Q&As and things of that sort. And then all of a sudden, videos I do get tens of thousands of views instead of just thousands of views. And it gets really kind of a swirl where all these people start coming back in that haven't been watching for a long time, trying to see what it is. And then over time, updates don't come out like crazy, or things happen that disappoint people, and then that just flattens right back out. So, like for example, if you're a Toontown streamer in my position, or like Smirky's position, or even somebody that, like, theoretically, if Ben Royko wanted to come back to Toontown and get a partnership through that, kind of aiming it where you would start streaming a lot right in the middle of a big TTR update where, like, Field Office came out, all of a sudden you would get all these new viewers. That's kind of the point you would want to, try to achieve, before it all flattens back out again and you go back down to 50 viewers. So there's highs, there's glimmers of hope where you're like, oh, I want this content to come out, I want this server to come out, and I can do really amazing videos on it, hopefully, or, get really good feedback, really good interaction, really good viewership. And, you really hope for these kinds of things, but then you also do have kind of that expectation of just Toontown does just kind of flatten back out. The viewership does just kind of slowly dwindle. And I don't think Toontown is unique in that fashion, but I do think it's just kind of the nature of the beast. I think for a stable future, what we need is some kind of server that has some kind of consistent update, and we haven't yet seen that. It's sustainable at the current moment, probably. I don't think everybody's just gonna jump off the ship after all this time. Right now, there's still, 1,500, 2,000 players usually on TTR at times. So I don't think people are just gonna jump ship. I don't think it's gonna just die tomorrow, but I do think that if content doesn't get delivered, it's gonna keep slowly dwindling and dwindling until it does get to that point. I just want to also add that there's glimmers of hope sometimes with Jesse Shell saying, oh, Disney's looking at the Switch for possible Toontown sequel. I don't know how realistic it is. I always want to hold out hope for it. If something like that happened, I would go out, I would buy a Switch right now. I mean, I would go get a Switch. I would get whatever Toontown reboot sequel, whatever it was, and I would play it and I would show it off. But as it stands, it doesn't seem too likely for that to happen. So there's glimmers of hope there too. There's glimmers of hope and updates, but the future is still very much fluid and very much to be seen, and I'm not quite sure how it'll go. We just have to kind of see, I suppose. So at this point, I'm going to ask you to leave your feedback, your opinion on how you feel about the future of Toontown, and obviously I'll read a bunch of those comments, I'll get back to you guys, and hopefully we can make some kind of interesting discussion. Hopefully we won't be too depressing about how it's a dying game, and it will close eventually, right? No? Yeah? No? Okay? Right? Okay. Anyways, I just want to say thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time in my next video, and hopefully you enjoyed this format, and if you did, let me know if you enjoyed the format, and I'll try to make some more of that. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. I'll see you all next time in my next video.